Hi, I'm Nancy. Welcome to Mindful Yoga. Today our practice centers around the poem by Ada Limon called Sanctuary and around two aspects of our postures or asana. One is the continuity of muscles and fascia that support any movement we do, even when we put our arm up, all of the cascading muscles and connective tissue that support that. And secondly, some isometric contraction or engagement of muscles as we do the asana, and also the ability to let go and relax. So let's get started. Take a seat where you can be comfortable. You can be in a chair for a little while if you like, or hips above knees on the floor. Arranging the body with an uplifted torso from the sits bones up through lungs, up through the back of the neck, the back of the eyes, little tuck in the chin. Setting the body up for a full, complete breath as the diaphragm dips down, the lower ribs expand out to the sides and the back. Giving the body this fine gift of a full inhale and a full letting go of exhale. Making sure that the lower ribs to the sides and the back are beginning the movement, and then allowing the inhale to progress up behind the heart, under the armpits, even up under the collarbones. Feeling the oxygen coming into the blood, coursing down through the legs, the thighs, the calves, the bottom of the feet to the toes. Coursing from the lungs and the heart out through the shoulders, upper arms, lower arms, out to the fingertips. The blood carrying the oxygen up through the neck, into the cheeks, the eyes, the temples, the brain, deep into the tissues of the brain. Suppose it's easy to slip into another's green skin, bury yourself in leaves, and wait for a breaking open, a breaking out. I have before been tricked into believing I could be both an I and the world. The great I of the world is both gaze and gloss, to be swallowed by being seen, to be made whole by being not a witness, but witnessed. Bring the hands to the side, reach out through the fingertips, gathering the energy, the life force, the prana, the chi all around you. Taking a moment to soak it in through the palms, letting it wash down through the head, washing out any tired energy in the brain and the eyes, through the neck, washing murky, tired energy out of the lungs, the heart, liver, pancreas, stomach, intestines, washing new energy into the organs. Hands come to the dantian or belly for a moment. And one more time, gathering in the life force, perhaps imagining your favorite place in nature and bringing in the green or the blue, the black and the white from that place, bringing those qualities of movement and life into the head, into the heart, and into the belly. A few more breaths here. Letting go on the exhale, deregulating. And then we'll come to a standing position, starting with some Qigong movements in order to encourage the body to soften and make some space in itself to be open to its natural intelligence. We'll start by tapping at the back of the waist with the flat of the hand or perhaps with a soft fist, coming down across the buttocks, down the back of the legs, across and up the inner legs, across the belt line, kidneys, down the buttocks, down the back of the legs, across, up the inner legs, and one more time. And coming into a standing position, feet just a little wider than hip width apart, some buoyancy in the hips and the knees and the ankles. Let the hands come back behind and then come up in front of the chest, a little stretch through the fingers. Beginning to open up thumb and fingers between the knuckles. Feeling the space through the palms as they awaken. That awakening of the hands coming up through wrists and lower arms, up into elbows and upper arms. Letting go as you come down, stretching up through shoulders. Letting that stretching involve the chest and the belly. Connecting from the fingertips all the way down through the feet sinking down even as you reach up. Whole body stretch. Heels might rise as your hands rise. Part of your breath and body remaining down in the toes. Two more times. And bring it down. Coming back to yoga for a minute, let's pull prana. Arms will go forward, out, up, and then knees bend and elbows come back behind. Inhale, 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 exhale. One more time. Let's come up for a moment. Let the weight sink down into the feet and feel the body as it is waking up. Aware with the aliveness of the body. Then we'll bring our hands back behind, tapping the back of the waist and up the spine just as far as the soft fists reach. Then coming up to the shoulders, tapping down on either side of the spine and maybe around on the shoulders a little bit up here. And then tapping with fingers up the sides of the neck in the back, either side of the cervical spine, and tapping with fingers over the skull, relaxing down through the face and the neck and the belly. And then we'll come down onto the forehead, the temples, across the cheekbones and around the bones of the eye sockets, cheekbones down the jawbone, down the neck to the breastbone. Left arm reaches out, right fingers tap or perhaps you slap a little bit on your way out to the palm, just a light love tap, waking up the heart and lung meridians. And then the other side, coming up the inside of the arm and back up the back or outside of the arm. Coming back to the breastbone, like tapping down the breastbone, the solar plexus, and then rubbing the belly round. And taking a moment again to feel the body, the vibrations, letting them sink in. Now let the left arm come down the side of the body, and the right arm reaches out with fingers coming out to the wall on your side. Feel the distance out through the fingertips. Then move the sternum over to the left slightly, almost as much intention as movement, a very slight movement, but a movement as the sternum goes to the left and the fingertips go to the right that creates distance. And feel. Letting that go, move the shoulder blade on the right towards the spine. The shoulder blade on the right moves towards the spine. Again, feeling a different kind of distance between the fingertips and the shoulder blade. Release, then moving the sternum a little to the left, moving the shoulder blade also to the left towards the spine. Enjoying that length, the sensation of the arms, the muscles, the fascia connected all the way out to the fingertips. That arm feeling very alive now, and bring it down. And other arm reaches out, again reaching out through the fingertips, left arm, and the sternum moves just slightly towards the right. Small movement that opens up some elasticity in the connective tissue, stretches the muscles a bit, letting that go, pulling the shoulder blade in the back towards the spine, so that left shoulder blade moving to the right towards the spine, and releasing. And then both, the sternum moving towards the right and the shoulder blade moving towards the spine. Just feeling, not overthinking, and letting it go. Let that arm come down. Now bring your fingers in between the forefinger and the thumb, digging down in there with your thumb and forefinger on the other hand and just rubbing there. This is a acupressure point that connects with the intestines, the large intestines, and the large intestines are connected with the lungs. So a point that you can rub very easily to bring some ease. And then the other hand. Letting that go. Feet are a little wider than hip width apart. Imagine that you have a bow, a wooden bow with a string, and the left hand pulls the string across as the knees bend slightly. The right hand pushes the wood of the bow out. Then hands come back to middle. Right hand is behind the left hand, pulls the string as the left hand pushes the wooden bow out. This is a movement that awakens. Left hand is behind now as it pulls the string. Awakens the lung and heart meridians. Opening that space between the forefinger and the thumb. A little more stimulation of that point in between the thumb and the forefinger. One more time on each side, giving it all your concentration. Coming back through middle. Feet come a little wider apart. We're going to be a star. Feeling the mat or floor underneath your feet and letting the feet sink down a little bit. Reaching up, wiggling your fingers a little bit as if you were a star in the sky. Sensing the connection down through the fingers, the arms, the torso, down through the hips, legs, all the way down to the feet. The arms push forward as if they could push the wall in front of you. Isometric contraction. Then the arms push back as if you could push the wall back behind you. Then both directions at once, as if you were pushing the wall forward, pushing the wall back. Increasing the strength, maintaining the muscles and joint capsules. And bring the arms down. Arms come out to the side. One hand comes down to the opposite leg. Lift up. Reaching up through the fingertips. Coming down and across. Other hand to the opposite leg. Reaching up. The opposite hand. Feeling that distance from the fingertips down through the shoulder blade and sternum. Bring that hand down, come up, reach out, and one more time on each side. Perhaps now feeling the twist through the thoracic spine and the cervical spine. And across to the other side. So much to feel in any posture that we take. Strong through the belly as you come up. And we're coming into goddess. Cactus arms. Feet might come slightly farther out. Toes are out just a little bit to the sides. Knees above the toes. No, not in front of the toes. Hips are coming out in the back. We want to save the knees here. So here we are, goddesses on earth. Inhale up, reach up. Feeling the fingers up and the feet below. Coming back into goddess. Reaching up, part of your breath and mind and body down in your feet. One more time. Let's push back with the arms slightly. As if we could push the wall behind us, increasing the mitochondria or energy producing parts of our cells in the muscles, and then pushing forward towards the wall in front of us, as if we were doing that. Then pretending to push in both directions at one time, strong isometric engagement through the cactus arms, and then relax the fingers, relax the hands, relax the shoulders, and slowly come up. And take a moment to relax down through the belly, through the thighs and the calves, down into the bottom of the feet, letting the inner ocean swirl around a bit. And we're going to come back into star. Make sure that your toes are straight forward, arms are up. Bring the weight over into one foot. Be aware of this as your foundation foot, strong along the muscles in the side of the hip. Loose through the neck, but strong through the leg over that balanced foot. And coming to the other side. First, finding your balance here and your strength in your foundation, foot and leg and torso. Then going back and forth at your own rate. And the toe might never leave the ground. You can always keep your toe there if you wish. So find your version of, well, we could call it the twinkling star, the moving star. Balance always a dialogue between the body, the foot, the floor. Gravity, One more time in each direction. And back through center. Bringing the fingers down towards the earth. Let the fingers and hands and arms be heavy. Shoulders are heavy. Hips rise up. Knees are soft. Unfolding slowly and gently. Feeling the space between the vertebrae as you open the back. Palms are up, coming up the body, abdomen, torso, neck. Turn at the forehead and push up as if you were pushing a nice light cloud up. Then dangling down once again, heavy, well supported by the feet and the legs and the hips, slowly unfolding, savoring that feeling of the spine flexing its way up, lifting the cloud, and falling down into gravity. Aware of the muscles in the feet and legs and hips and abdomen and back that are supporting you as you come up. One last time, just bouncing the cloud up and then parting the clouds and bringing the hands down. Feet come just a little wider apart. One hand comes up over the head, and the heel can lift here as we come over into a willow side bend. And the other arm might be along the abdomen as well. Let your body enter into the grace and flexibility of this willow side bend, as if you were taking on the green skin of a willow. So we can change our movements to be much more strengthening, and on the other hand, still strengthening, but much more soft. And we want to be able to do both of those. Coming back through center, let's rub hands together, creating some feeling of energy which is already there, the warmth of the sun between your hands. Then letting the hands come apart, pushing together, but feeling that energy as if it can hardly keep the hands from coming together, and then pulling apart against the force on the outside back of the hands. So feeling some resistance as you bring the energy into a dense ball and allow the energy to expand. Relaxing through the stomach and the belly, letting that energy of warmth penetrate into the body as well. Next time the hands come together, turn the hands one above, one below, and let the energy expand. One hand coming up towards heaven, one coming down towards earth, coming back, making a dense ball of warm, light energy. And for a moment, just holding that ball of energy at about heart or solar plexus level, allowing the warmth and light of that energy to enter in to skin and bones, blood and organs. Now we're going to bring our feet a little wider apart. Hips come out in the back. Hands come to that ball of energy at the heart. Let the hands expand that energy out. Bring it back into the heart. Hips rise, hands come down in a forward fold. Hips come back, hands to the heart. Expand the energy. Bring the energy together into a dense ball. Hips rise, forward fold. We'll do that 2 more times. Your fingers are down, Bring your heels and toes a little farther in so they're just a bit wider than hip width. And we're going to put this all together, coming up in a forward fold. Palms are up, come up the torso, turn at the forehead, cloud lifting up. One hand above, one hand at the abdomen as we come into a willow side bend. Bring the hands in front of the heart, rub them together. Let one hand come up to heaven, expanding down to earth at the same time, bringing the energy back together at the heart. Hips come out in the back, arms come apart, pulling, expanding that energy, bringing that energy back to the heart. Hips rise, fingers come down into forward fold, and unfolding the spine, lifting up the torso, the cloud, willow side bend. Rubbing hands together, finding the energy that reaches up to heaven, comes down to earth, bringing that energy back to the heart. Hips come out to the back, energy comes wide, back to the heart, forward fold, unfolding, bringing the energy up, pushing up into the clouds, dancing the willow tree, putting on your green skin. Hands come to center, rubbing them together. One hand comes up towards forehead, one down towards abdomen. Heaven and earth coming together at the heart, hips out to the back, arms wide, and bringing the energy back to the heart, coming down into a forward fold, and we'll come up into a standing position. Playing with our green skin today. Let's do a tree pose. You can have a sofa or the back of a chair to your side if you wish. And if you're doing that, let the leg beside that be the foundation leg. Our hands might be on the hips. Come up onto the toe on one side, establish the foundation leg, aware of the hips and the knees and coming down into the heel, that weight coming across to the first, second toe. Then opening the knee, your knee might be up or the toe might be down on the mat, either way. Just telling the hip joint, this is what's going to happen here. And then you might bring the heel to the ankle with the toe on the mat, or foot might come onto the calf, or you might bring the foot up to the thigh. What is your version of tree? Whatever your version, putting on your green skin, communing with the leaves in the breeze, having your conversation with the floor, with gravity, rooting down. And then bringing down your branches if they're up there, coming into the other foot, rooting down, lifting up, turning the hip strong through the muscles on the side of the hip. Maybe the toe stays down. Maybe you're on the calf. Maybe you're on the thigh. Lots of possibilities here. My balance changes by the day. Yours probably does too. Opening into your version of tree. And bringing it down. Shaking out a little bit. Let's come down onto the mat into a tabletop position. Hands are under shoulders, knees under hips. Let the nose be straight down. Make sure that the weight is in both the balls and the heels of the hand. Good support for the shoulders. Often we talk about the tailbone leading the way. This time we're going to let the oblique muscles, the muscles on the side of the waist, lead the way as we arch up. So oblique muscles leading the way up. Then as we come down, reach back through the front half of the pelvic floor, reaching back through the front half of the pelvic floor and allowing the collarbone to fan forward a bit. So this isn't a big opening in the front of the body. Obliques reach up, tailbone and spine just follow along. Instead of stomach sinking, think of lifting the front half of the pelvic floor back towards the wall behind you, opening through the collarbone. So chin just comes forward slightly as you open the front, reaching up through the obliques. Reaching back through the front half of the pelvic floor, forward through the fanned open collarbone. One last time in each direction, giving a little ride to the spine and the tailbone. Neither way is right or wrong, it's just different ways of doing this posture. And then come back through center. Let's come back into child's pose. Arms extended out in front, feeling the length from the fingertips and hands back through arms, along the muscles on the sides of the ribs, the obliques on the sides of the waist, back to the sacrum. Whole chain of muscles and fascia involved here. Then coming forward, hands are a little bit in front of the shoulders, tuck the toes, and we'll come up into downward dog. As we often do, let the knees be soft, especially at first. Feeling the length from the bottom of the skull down through the long muscles on the sides of the spine, down through the ligaments in the sacrum area. Really feeling that cascade of connective tissue and muscle from under the skull back through the sacrum. Then come down into child's pose, stretch back. Come forward on the hands, let the knees and feet stay down, strong through the glutes as you open into a version of up dog. Tuck the toes, come back up into down dog. Again, feeling from the occiput, the bottom of the skull, up through the sacrum. Also, if you let the head just be loose and come down a bit, you can feel that the fascia or connective tissue around the whole skull becomes engaged. So feeling that cascading effect from the skull connective tissue through the neck, down through the spine to the sacrum. And come down into child's pose. Forward into up dog. You can always come on the bottom of the feet and raise the knees if you would like. Keep engagement through the glutes. And once again, tucking the toes, coming up into down dog. This time, feeling the connection from the sacrum, the ligaments of the sacrum, down through the hamstrings on the back of the thighs. From the sacrum down to the knees. Connecting that from the bottom of the skull down through the back, sacrum, and down to the knees. Down into child's pose. We'll take a moment here, give some relief to the arms. Then coming forward into up dog, your version. Back up into downward dog. As the legs open in the back a little bit, feeling the connection of the ligaments of the sacrum down through the hamstrings, behind the knees, and down the back of the calves. The back of the calves, the muscles are connected in with the Achilles tendon and the plantar fasciae under the bottom of the feet and to the roots of the toes. So sacrum connected all the way down the legs and under the toes. And down into child's pose. Forward into up dog. One last time, up into down dog. Taking the chance here to feel the connection all up and down the body. Sacrum, hips are high. The cranial skull fascia coming down the neck, the sides of the spine, ligaments of the sacrum, down the back of the thighs, the back of the calves, underneath the feet to the roots of the toes. A sense of that connection from the skull all the way to the toes. Then coming forward into plank. Knees can be down or up, your version, strong through the belly. 3, 2, and 1. Elbows come in, knees come down. Bring the arms along the side, hands in towards the body. Wiggle the body around, get comfortable. Lift one leg, stretch it back and lay it down, and then the other. Long through the whole body, nose down towards the mat so that you feel that engagement and of the muscles in the back of the neck and the connective tissue of the skull. Then head and shoulders rise, legs rise, arms rise into locust. Balancing here in this isometric engagement of whole body for 3, 2, and 1. Bring it down. Tuck the legs together, thighs coming towards each other, feet nestling together. Arms come out to the side slightly with thumbs up. Head and shoulders rise. Shoulder blades relaxing down towards the waist. Strong through the muscles, the hamstrings, the glutes. Muscles along the spine for 3, 2, and 1. And coming up into a tabletop. Make sure the hands are directly under the shoulders once again. Knee lifts, comes up towards the elbow, reaches back, comes across, and the gaze goes back to meet that toe, creating a stretch along the oblique muscles at the side of the waist. Bring the knee up towards the elbow and back across. Nice twist here. One more time. Knee comes back under the hip, other knee lifts up towards the elbow, reaches back across, gaze meets the toes. 2 more times. Pausing in that twist a moment, enjoying the stretch, sensing where you feel it, and bringing the knee back. The right leg straightens out, comes back with the toe on the earth, back behind you. Then raise it 6 inches, 5, 6 inches, not all the way up. We want to keep the load on the lower back, just even and easy. Feel the length again as your gaze goes down to the mat. Feel the length from the bottom of the occiput, the bottom of the skull, down the neck, down the whole length of the spine on the side, the sacrum. the hamstrings, the calves. And if you flex that foot, you can feel that stretch and strengthening going around the heel and to the bottom of the feet and the roots of the toes. Feeling that whole continuity of body. Then bring the knee in. The knee comes towards the wrist and the other leg comes back. So we're coming into pigeon. Bring yourself up a bit. Hands are right around the knee. Now, my teacher, Chris Holmes, suggests that we push the little toe of the pigeon leg, the one that's up, folded up. The little toe pushes into the earth and kind of up towards the knee, feeling the engagement along the side of the shin, calf area, up along the IT band, up along the glutes, and even up along the obliques and the side of the waist. Helping us to realize all of the muscles and connective tissue that are alive every time we do one of these postures. Then bringing the hands forward, coming back into tabletop. Left leg goes back, the other leg you haven't done. Raise it about 5 or 6 inches, not all the way up. Pelvis, hips are still here. Gaze is down towards the mat, aware of the activity from the bottom of the skull, down the neck, down the long spinal muscle on the side of the leg that is extended, across the sacrum, hamstrings. Flex that foot behind you, feeling the calf, the Achilles tendon, plantar fasciae, and down into the roots of the toes. Whole cascade, even the cranial fascia around the skull affected here. Then bringing that knee up towards the wrist on that side, walking the other leg back. Hands are out to the sides, just around the knee. Press the pinky of the folded leg down into the mat as if it were coming up towards the knee. Feeling the engagement up the side, the outer side of the calf shin, up the IT band on the side of the thigh, into the glutes and the buttocks, and even up into the waist. And we're not even mentioning the arms here, right? Which are also, of course, engaged. And bringing that back, let's come back into child's pose. Reach the arms out to one side. Take a nice stretch through the side. Then coming across the center, over to the other side. And back one more side, to each side. Bring one foot forward, coming into knee down lunge. Hook the thumbs together, arms rise, lift from the hips up through the organs, through the sternum, opening from pelvis to sternum in a little back bend. Then bring the hands to the thigh of the front leg, tuck the toes, lift up and spring up into a high lunge. If you need to come onto your knees and come up, that's fine. So we're in a high lunge here. Front knee is over the ankle. Hands come to the chest. One hand reaches up, pushing up the clouds, and one pushes down towards the soft flowers. Letting that be a stretch through the whole body, even if it's the arms that are moving back to the heart. Other hand holding up the clouds, the other caressing the flowers. A soft movement and yet a movement that opens space in the whole body. Letting the feet relax down, sink down into the earth. Hands come back to middle. Hands come down around the front foot, back into a very brief downward dog. The left leg comes up, the leg that you have not been using. Bring it forward into a knee down lunge. Length of thumbs, open, reaching up, hips up through heart, up through head, opening from pelvis up through sternum, coming back. Hands come to the front thigh, tuck the toes, lift the knee, spring up, or come through knees, coming into high lunge. Hands to the center, pushing up the sky and down to earth. Relaxing down through the feet, even as the muscles and connective tissue and bones give you structure. So a combination of having structure and also creating space in muscles and bones, in the tissues of the organs, and between the organs. One more time in each direction. Bring hands back through middle and bring the feet together. We're going to do a triangle now. One foot comes back and one foot forward, so toes are towards the front of the mat, and the other foot is right behind, but if that's too much torque on the hip, bring that foot forward a little bit, adapting each of these postures to your body. Front knee is more or less straight, firm. Opening through the chest, reaching out through the fingers, then reaching towards the horizon, windmilling the arms, reaching up through fingers and down through fingers. Feeling the opening in the sternum, through the eyes of the shoulder, along the arms, the eyes of the elbows, very open, the palms open. Aware of the support from feet up through legs, the pelvic bowl. Strong through the belly. Pretend there's a rope up here and catch it and bring yourself up. Arms horizontal. Hands come to the waist and switch the feet so they're going in the opposite direction. Find what your hip needs in the back. Opening through the chest, reaching out to the horizon as the hips open back, windmilling. Feeling the palms open to the air, fingers alive as they reach. Even there's space between the knuckles. Maybe they stretch out and then they relax a little bit. Arms open, shoulders open, heart alive. Imagine there's a rope up here, catch it and bring yourself up. Let's come down to a lying position. And as you come down onto the mat, just take a moment to let the exhale settle, become a little longer. With each exhale, down regulating, relaxing down through the back of the neck, the back of the waist, the back of the knees, the back of the ankles. Letting everything sink down into earth for a moment. Then bring your leg up, give it some support behind the thigh. Turn the ankle. Relax through the back of the shoulder blades behind the heart. And back around the opposite direction. Bring the arms out horizontal from the shoulders. A little bit of isotonic resistance here, moving through honey or molasses as the leg opens out to the side, just as far as is right for your groin and your hip joint, and then bringing it up through molasses. Then bringing it straight down, again, through resistant air, coming back parallel to the other leg. Other leg reaches up through the honey air, the molasses air. Give it some support, turn the ankle. Relax down through the lips and the tongue and the jaw. Back around the opposite direction. Arms come out horizontal. Let the leg go out to the side, again through that resistant molasses. And back up. An isotonic exercise that maintains your strength or builds from a place of injury or arthritis, or perhaps just sedentariness, and bring the leg down. Let's hug the knees, bringing them up towards the chest, tracking the effect that has on the back, behind the waist and sacrum. Bring the knees out towards the armpits. Knees rise, coming into happy baby. Hands come to the bottom of the feet or the ankles. Push up through one leg and then the other. After all that downward dog work, we're probably pretty open in the back of the legs. So enjoying that elasticity of the connective tissues, the space in the muscles. And releasing the feet. Bring the feet down, knees bent with feet wide on the mat. Knees bent, feet wide on the mat, arms out from the shoulders. We'll do a windshield wiper, so letting the knees go back and forth very gently. Hips also moving, rising as the knee comes over. Finding where you can relax and let go in other parts of the body. Finding those places that often don't get our softness, our permission to relax. Maybe they hold tension from long ago. Not forcing them to open, but letting them know it's okay, it's safe. The inner ocean is flowing. And then coming over on the side of the buttocks on the right leg is in a soft V. I'm not on the side of my hip, I'm on the side of the buttocks. And the left leg is a little forward diagonally from the hip, extended out with a flexed foot. So right leg is a V underneath, and the left leg is diagonally out slightly towards the front with a flexed foot. The left arm comes up by the head, if that is comfortable for the shoulders. You can find a comfortable place there. Then an isotonic movement as the leg reaches up and comes down, just 5 or 6 inches, not a large movement, as if that leg were moving through thick molasses. A low load exercise for the joints and the muscles, letting the muscles build up their mitochondria. And then coming to the middle of that movement, as if you were pushing with the leg up, lifting the ceiling, isometric, and then pushing down as if you were pushing the floor down. Now pushing up and pushing down at the same time, a low load and yet still a strong engagement. And bring it down. Come back on your back. Come into a star on the earth, legs diagonal, arms diagonal. Just take a little rest before we do the other side. Then rolling over on the side of the buttocks on the left side. And now the left leg is in an easy V underneath, and the right leg is extended out with a flexed foot, a little diagonal towards the front. Right arm comes up by the ear, if that is comfortable. Isotonically engaging as you move the leg up 5 or 6 inches through very thick air, down, slowly up and down, feeling the aliveness, sensing where muscles are being asked to engage. Then finding the midpoint of that movement, pushing up as if you were pushing the ceiling up, pushing down as if you were pushing the floor away. Then both pushing ceiling up and floor away. Increasing the energy producing parts of the cells in your muscles. And bring that leg down. Let's come over onto our back. Bring the feet 5 or 6 inches below the buttocks. Arms are along the side. And we'll end with a moving bridge. Weight comes down into the heels. Glutes are strong as the hips lift and arms glide up overhead. Perhaps they reach the floor behind, perhaps not. Legs are parallel. Hands and hips come down at the same time. Inhale up. Long inhale. And long exhale. As hands come down, meet the hips, and everything comes down. One last time, aware of the length in your quadriceps at the front of the thighs, the length of the sternum up towards the neck, the softness in the neck. Long exhale as the arms come down, meet the hips, and everything comes down. Extend the legs out. Bring the left foot up beside the right thigh. Hips move over to the left slightly. Arms are out from the shoulders. Left foot goes on right thigh and right hand draws gently on the knee, coming into a twist. Feeling that spiral from the top hip across the front of the body, under the underarm, and around to the neck on the same side as the top hip. A spiral galaxy that connects you as you do the twist. Release the knee, center the hips, left leg extends out, hips go over to the right, right foot on left thigh, draw that knee across. Relaxing down through hips, through thighs and calves and feet. Relaxing as you unsqueeze around the eyes, the eyebrows, the eyelids, under the eyes, the inner corners of the eyes, the outer corners of the eyes. Perhaps your body is saying thank you for letting it move and twist, spiral, and stretch. And then coming back through center. Feel free to stay here if you would like. You're coming back into your day, over on the side, and coming up into the sitting position, but feel free to stay down and relax. May we let the great eye of the world swallow us. May we be made whole by being witnessed. Namaste. Let the green leaves witness you as you walk through your day.